Hi, I am Joe Tanner, a Danville native and NASA astronaut. People often ask what I remember most from my missions in space. For me, the most enduring image is the view of Earth from space. It is the perfect view. No obstructions, no clouds, just a pure appreciation of the magnificence of the world where we live. When I return to Danville, I have that same sense of having an unobstructed view of something very remarkable. As a young man, the adventures I had, the education that prepared me well, and the people who helped define me, all allowed me to follow a dream. Those experiences bring me back to the same people I cherish and to the same town I grew up in. I am proud of Danville, and prouder still to call it my hometown. There is something special about this place. You find it at sporting events and festivals, at the symphony, and along Lake Vermilion. You feel it in our award-winning classrooms and in our libraries. The Danville area is a treasure in the heart of the Midwest, and I know that this treasure shines no matter where you see it.
I think when people look at where they want to live, they go through a checklist, and that checklist often includes they want to be somewhere with a strong educational system. They want to be somewhere where the housing is affordable and yet attractive. They want to be somewhere where they have natural assets around them so that they can just go somewhere and relax. They want golf courses. They want tennis courts. They want playgrounds for their children. They also want museums and ways in which to socialize and cultural opportunities. There are a lot of things that if you were to put through a checklist of opportunities that you'd like to be able to enjoy while you're living somewhere, Danville has each and every one of those, and more importantly, at a price that anyone and everyone can afford.
We're proud of our Danville schools because of the broad spectrum of offerings that we have, from public to parochial, from preschool all the way up to post-secondary. And within those offerings, we have great variety, even at the elementary level. Diversity, both cultural and socially, is great. I've learned so much about people in general from being an educator in Danville, and believe that our children in our community are learning as well. We always like to think about safety first. Our schools are both safe and secure. Our broad spectrum of curriculum gives students the opportunity to choose most anything and everything they might be interested in exploring. As educators, we know that it's important to hook children into school. And sometimes that's through extracurricular offerings. It might be through a great music program, athletics, scholastic bowl, or any of the other broad spectrum of offerings that we have. Our show choirs have been known across the country, and we pride ourselves as being rich in the performing arts. Athletic programs are important both at the intramural level in elementary schools up to the more competitive high school level. Our students, while earning high school credit toward their diploma, can earn college credit at the same time. Our students enrolled in dual enrollment have been successful at institutions such as Harvard, University of Southern California, as well as Northwestern and the University of Illinois.
Vermilion County has over 15,000 acres of public parkland, from our county parks to our state parks to our city parks. We have so much to do, no matter what your interest is. You might bike in our parks. You might canoe down our scenic river. You might fish in our parks. Our state park, for example, has over 22 deep water ponds for the fishermen. You might want to take a pontoon boat ride on Lake Vermilion with a naturalist. There's so much to do that it's overwhelming. Heron Park is a wetlands, and there's a floating boardwalk 900 feet where you can walk out and look at heron and eagle and otter and every animal that you can imagine in that kind of setting. My favorite recreation, of course, is the Danville Dance, a historic Danville stadium built in 1946 for the Brooklyn Dodgers. It has rostered over 70 Major League players or coaches. Currently, the Danville Dance play there. It's a summer collegiate league team that brings players from all over the country. And you can visit with 4,000 or 5,000 of your friends on any given Friday or Saturday night. Our players come from schools like LSU and Mississippi State and Pepperdine and San Diego and some of the finest baseball schools in the country. And of course, when the players are here and enjoy our community, enjoy all of our wonderful families that host the ball players, they go home and they tell everybody what we all know, and that is that Danville, Illinois is just a great place to live. It's rewarding when you see players years later and you get that kind of feedback, and it's this community that does that.
Sports is about life. You teach that you can overcome adversity, that there is great power in team as opposed to individual, that in the worst moments, there's great triumph. When I think about sports in Danville, I think about the history. And going back to the early days, I mean, horse racing in Ellsworth Park. Now, I have no personal experience in that. I, wasn't born before then, but the pictures in Bob Wright's book of the horse races in Ellsworth Park. Auto racing at the old fairgrounds, which is now near the old Fair Oaks. from the great high school basketball teams of Danville High School and Schlarman. I can't help but go to the history of sports first, and then it kind of brings us to today's sports. Sports is also economic development. And I think one of the great things that we've done in the Danville area in the last 25 years is to see the college go out and actively recruit to bring the national tournament to Danville. When you can bring in 12 teams from across the country to stay in Danville because they're writing checks when they're here, that is economic development. It's also putting Danville on the map. We couldn't afford to go in and buy the publicity and buy the exposure in the different markets of the communities that come to Danville. We couldn't afford to do that. But we put Danville on its, we put Danville on the stage when we bring these events to come in. That's what we buy with that. We buy goodwill, but we also buy publicity.
Hot chocolate?
Let's start with the Festival of Trees, which is done here in the arena, and a massive change takes place in here, of course, over a period of days. This turns from basically an ice rink into a beautiful winter wonderland with trees, live performers on stage who are just enjoying themselves, getting out there singing the Christmas songs, the sounds of the season. We have probably 500 or 600 performers over the course of the weekend. And actually, it's more than a weekend. It's 5 days of the event that takes place here in the arena. And along with that, people just get to come in and start their Christmas ideas for the holidays. As far as Civil War days, that event took place for a number of years in Kennecott County Park. And we have reenactors and living historians from all over the country who come in here for that big event. We had, like this year, 350 people participating in uniform or in civilian clothing, bringing back a portion of our history during the Civil War period. And of course, with the ties to Lincoln here in Danville, that is very much a part of Danville's history. And that brings thousands of people out to the park, and it also gets to showcase the park because I think a lot of people miss the opportunities to go visit Kickapoo State Park and Kennecott Cove County Park, which lets you get back into nature very easily and also take part in events such as Civil War days. A number of homegrown performers have come from Danville through the years who have made an impact on the national and international scene. And a lot of the people who will be the future stars, I think, are coming from Danville too. It's a great training ground for people who want to be in the performing arts. If you want to try something, go ahead and do it. For example, there are a number of groups here in town, like Danville Light Opera and the Lincoln Park Theater Company, who do musicals each year, and they give you a chance. I think they don't say, go down this road and here's exactly what you're going to do. They let you be yourself, and I think they let you grow in your art. We're just very fortunate in Danville to have an orchestra. So many communities this size don't have an orchestra at all, such as we do, but this is a professional orchestra that brings in people from all over the world to perform with them. And we also have a great visual arts community with the Danville Art League as well. One of the best things about Danville, people listen to you. The people who are already here listen and welcome new ideas and new avenues of what you can do to make Danville a better place.